Hi guys, how are you? Rick's Nostalgia here. Today we're gonna review quickly my customized version of the very iconic vintage Lego train set number 4558, the Metroliner. The customization consists, as you can see, in the train being yellow instead of grey. So the train I'm talking about, for whoever doesn't know, is this one. It's a very iconic vintage set from the early 90s, and it's also actually, I will say, a pretty expensive set. I've been keeping an eye on quite a few auctions lately. It goes from anything between 100 to 150 pounds if you want to get one complete, which is an amount of money that I'm not really willing to spend at the moment. So I had already tons of yellow windows from my 7740, and after a quick research, I noticed that to get the rest of the train together, it wouldn't cost me much money. So I decided to go for it and get my own customized version, with the goal of saving some money. So yeah, very happy about it. So let's get right into it, and we're gonna start with Locomotive. Okay guys, so with regards to the Locomotive, I literally took the instructions of the original set and tried to build a build that was accurate as much as possible to the original one, with the only difference that the color of some of the bricks would have been different. Still, it didn't turn out exactly the same, and now I'm going to point out the two main differences. The two main ones are here, this bottom base that is not made of a train base like this one. This is a grey one. The one I would be in need of was a yellow one, due to the fact that even if this yellow train base exists, it's extremely expensive on Bricklink. I can't remember now, but we were talking about it was going to cost something like 20-30 pounds per piece, and I would have needed 3 of them. So definitely that was not going to be an option I was going to consider, so I decided just to go for a cheaper solution, which was just put together this base with some plates and some Technic plates with holes in it where needed. I'm still very happy about how things turned out. The difference is minimal, so I'm gonna keep it like that. The second big difference, as you can see here, is that there's no door. There would be a door of this type in the original set, and I had plenty of doors available from my 7740. Unfortunately, is that in order to use these doors, I would have had to use a lot of electrical tape to cover up, firstly this red stripe, and then use other electrical tape of different colors to get the stripes here on this part of the window. Now, I actually did this experiment, but it didn't turn out to be good. The whole thing didn't blend well. The doors looked quite ugly, and the thickness of the tape was getting on the way, so it wouldn't allow me to open the doors as I would. So that was an option I abandoned. I tried to put some brick built doors, tried 2 or 3 different options, but unfortunately none of them blended the way at least I wanted. So I decided for the moment to put a panel over here and just some bricks here to put together the lower part. And actually I have to say that I do like the look of it like this. I'm not sure it's going to be a permanent solution, but for the moment I'm gonna keep it like that. Yeah, the outer part, as I said, is pretty much the same for the rest. There is a bit of electrical tape applied here to these big doors to keep the line going here all the way through. I'm happy about it. It's the only tape present in the set. So now let's quickly open up the roof so we can have a look at the inner side of the build, and it's pretty much structured exactly as the original one. There's just some difference in the colors used to put the whole thing together. We have the control panel with the driver over here. We have the dummy motor here, the brick built motor, which is pretty much almost exactly the same, just with a different color scheme. And then we have here the restaurant section with a couple of minifigs here occupying some space, and pretty much everything here is exactly the same as the original, except once again for the colors used. Let's move to the passenger car. Okay, with regards to the passenger car, it's pretty much the same as once again as the original build, just different color scheme. The main difference in this case is that once again I don't have any doors in the carriage, but I just decided to replace the doors with windows and some bricks here on the bottom. I do like it like that. I really like the fact that there's windows from the beginning all the way through to the other side of the build, and I find it a nice solution to replace doors. Once again, I tried to put some brick build doors, but the whole thing didn't look good to me, so I just have to think about it. For the moment I'm just gonna keep the build like that. If we remove the roof, we can find that there's 4 seats in it, with also a sink and a tap here on the left side, and everything here is pretty much the same, also with these tables that can be moved in order to allow space for luggages. And the only difference is that the color scheme is different, but I chose to put red seats because I think they blend very well with the yellow surroundings. Okay, so this is pretty much it for the passenger wagon. So let's move to the second locomotive, and here we are with the last section of the train. This is the second locomotive, the one without the real train motor. As you can see here, something I'm going to point out straight away is that you can see that the nose here looks different, and what's going on is that so far I've been able only to get my hands on one of these yellow nose pieces. So the one that I'm using here is a black one, and I just applied a little bit of a yellow tape just to try to blend the whole thing properly. But obviously as soon as I will have the chance to get my hands on one of these, I will buy it and will replace the whole thing. With regards to once again to this locomotive, everything is on the outside is exactly the same as the previous one, and if we remove the roof, we see that the inner side is different, as the 3 sections are different. In this one we still have the control panel with the driver, but here in the middle section we're gonna have as with the original build, we have a section dedicated to the transport of bicycles, and here we have a section, we have a couple of beds that is gonna turn this section into a sleeping area. The build itself is exactly the same as the original one. I just changed the colors to try to have a better blend of with the rest of the color scheme. So guys, here is the train put together. Once again, you already saw the train running on the beginning of the video. I really do like it. I really like the original set. I really like its design, its look. If I will have the chance to get my hands on an original one, for a decent amount of money, I will definitely jump on it with no hesitation, but for the moment this is what's gonna do for me, and I'm really actually happy of the variation, the color variation turning out like that. So guys, don't forget to rate, comment and subscribe, and so you can stay tuned for more videos coming over the next few weeks. Okay, so thank you very much, bye bye.